Okay, I think we can start. So thank you everyone for joining me for this webinar demo. It's more like a demo and talking to you directly about CrawlQ, what we do and what we want to achieve with this. So thank you for this opportunity, and I want to keep it more interactive. So at any point of time, if you think that I must stop, then please give me a sign, and we can keep it lively, interactive session. And I want to take as much as answers, questions from you, and as much as I can answer. So that's the goal of this webinar. So let me first introduce like what is CrawlQ. CrawlQ is like a tool, research content automation tool, which can really help you to identify your ideal customers, differentiate from your competitors, and can help you with kind of content automation. So that's the whole idea about being at the CrawlQ. And I will try to walk into the tool directly in a bit. But before that, I think it's good that I mention some of the case studies. So we have been working with this for almost 2.5 years now, and we were able to achieve some successful results from ourselves, from some of our clients. We rank many of these keywords top in the Google on the domain quantumic solutions. So automate content creation, automated content generation, automation, use of artificial intelligence in SEO tools. I think the important thing is like in the space of B2B SaaS, and I'm trying to generalize it also, most of these content are generated only for the top of the funnel, and the content that usually you see is not really appealing to the target audience. And I'll come back to that, into that situation or problem more into more detail later. There are several research, but basically CrawlQ is for any founder, marketer, copywriters who are too focused on expensive paid at generating poor quality leads. And the whole idea here is to connect your content with the buying process, with emotional connection with your buyer. And the whole purpose of the CrawlQ is to deep dive into your targets, your prospects, emotions, desires, pain points, roadblocks, and results. So that's why there's a kind of very exhaustive approach in the beginning to deep dive into the market research. And when I say market research, it's like really identifying whom you're targeting. And if that information is sorted out, right, then we are able to feed this process into content creation. So this is important that we are really focusing here not on the knowledge-based blogs, because you know that a lot of articles or blogs that comes for top of the funnel, they stays at the zero click level, right? We want to go into deeper into making that connection with our content, with our target audience. So it's not my intention to walk you through with this particular presentation or idea, but I will jump in between this, and I will try to show like how exactly the pillars that are there in the CrawlQ will help you to generate something similar, like content like this, or a blog, or a sales letter, or a video presentations, or insights. But at this stage, because I promise it's more like a demo, so I want to go into the tool, and I want to really walk you through the tool itself, and rather than or talking point, but I'll shift back to that presentation again. So when you log into CrawlQ, you get this workspace, and you can create, of course, 10 workspace for the lifetime deal. You can attach each workspace with the domain name. So that's the idea, that if we have one domain, then we have workspace, one workspace. If you guys are dealing with affiliates, or if you have multiple domains to manage, then you can allocate each workspace to a domain. But if you want to do A/B test of your buyer persona, it is also possible that you create four different kind of buyer persona and try to test your message. So these are the different possibilities and flexibility within this. So let's say that I have already created an workspace. It's Ethereum 2.0. It's based on the blockchain. Maybe that I'm going to take some examples here. So once you create workspace, you are into this dashboard. And I have been getting this feedback. This is overly complicated, overwhelming. I think I understand all those feedback, and our team, ourselves, we are trying to simplify it as much as possible. Also, when you first time log in, we are trying to give you two paths. One is more easy path, where you fill some necessary information in the beginning, and then later you go to more deep dive if necessary for you. If it's not necessary, then you can also stay on high level, try to get some content automation done, see how it helps you, right? So that was the idea. But to be honest, this whole setup is involved. We have to accept it, and it is involved by purpose, because what I'm going to explain here is the approach we are taking is different. So most of the time, as a marketer, founder, or when you start your business, right, most of the time what you get is like you have your website, you start developing content for it, be you're working as affiliate or you're working for a digital marketing agency. The first step that you're going to start is on the search engine optimization. So over the last 10 years, we have been told and we have learned this, right? That want to create content, first step we are going to do is keyword, right? We are going to do the keyword research. And this keyword research is further going down in the way like you have keyword planners. You want to see, okay, what is the volume of this traffic that this keyword can get to me? What is the dollar value of this traffic, CPC and volume? And there are multiple tools with multiple databases. So that's how you start. Like most of the time, what we have been taught to start from right to left. So you start with search engine optimization. You start directly on the keyword. But let me ask you a question, like why we want to do the keyword research? Because we want to get more traffic. Why we want to get more traffic? Because we want to reach ultimately with our product, services, offer to our target audience, right? That's the whole objective. Because having traffic on your website is one part, but having conversion, right, from this traffic to the real paying customer is another part. So our ultimate goal is to convert more, right? We want to have traffic. Traffic is not for entertainment, right? They must come to the website, and you want to convert them into paying customers. And that's where this whole approach is making difference, because if you do very good research, you follow all the webmaster principles, if you follow all the best advice guide, you can really optimize your one or two blog on those based on those keyword research. You can get a lot of traffic. So traffic is coming, but what is happening is once this traffic come to a website, they start looking around different context. So they're looking around contact us page, home page, about us page, pricing page, or the product descriptions. Things do not start matching. Things looks disconnected. Things are not in the same semantics and well connected, in the sense that this whole content creation process or information architecture is scattered. It's not well connected. And that's the reason why you can bring a lot of traffic, but you're carrying a leaky bucket, because most of the time this traffic is there, but conversion is not happening because there is no coherence in the structure. And that's the reason here with the CrawlQ, we want to start not with the keyword research or SEO part, but directly with the market research. And to be honest, for most of us, it sounds counterintuitive. But if you take a step back and think about it, this is more common sense and holistic approach that we really try to understand our target audience, who they are, for whom they are writing, what is their desires, what is their pain points, from where they come from, where they fun and frequent, right? There are so many dimensions here, and ultimately what we are going to achieve is, if you follow this approach, right, this is more common sense and holistic approach. Is as good as like inviting the person that you want to write for this person or a coffee meeting or a coffee date, and ask some questions which are here. What is going on with you? what kind of situation currently are you in, what you want to be in next 5 years. So it's like kind of understanding more deep and making an emotional connection, rapport with your target audience is very, very important. And this approach then also lead us to same goal, that we are trying to identify some resonating headlines, resonating keywords, resonating themes, different angles that not only help us to write content better, but in this process, we are also going to find a lot of different perspectives, angles, which will help us to optimize our product and services. So it's a kind of business intelligence plus the idea to refactor your thoughts about the pain points of your target audience. And it's a two-way purpose. So it's not only helping you to find those content opportunities, but also it is helping you to find some aspects of your product and services that you can refactor. You might come across the aspects that you might not have thought before about it. So it will really help you to optimize your offering, services, product. And this to me, and for many of the people that I talked before, looks more holistic approach. And this is has both pros and cons, because it's not quick approach, right, to reach to this option where you just feed in few inputs and you get content. No, we are going to first do a deep dive into the market research. We're trying to deeply understand them, and then whole idea is that we are going to feed this information or a semantic and psychographic map, I call it map, into the content process. So whatever we are going to ask in the content automation, be it GPT-3 or be it our own another internal semantic layer before we ask to GPT-3, or similar other algorithms that we are trying to train behind this machine, is to really make sure that any content that we get is very, very resonating with our initial market research. So far, does it make sense? Any question can I get already at this stage? As I said, we are not many participants, so feel free to, like, stop me and ask questions, because that will really open more door for more questions and discussions. Okay, Samuel, what is the short summary that you're trying to present here? Noise here, I fully understand. So short summary is the most of the approach that we have seen so far is to start from search engine optimization and start with the keyword research. We are tackling this problem other way around. So not to start with keyword research, but trying to go deeper into your market, trying to understand your buyers' pain point, emotions, desires. And then we are trying to get the same option. We are going to win on two things. One is we are not only getting here content idea, but we are also exploring different angles, perspectives on which we can refine our product offer and services. That's one win. And the second win is, like, we are creating an approach which is based on semantics and psychographics. So we are not writing all the time content for search engine, but we are writing content directly for our buyer persona. And the assumption here is that if we write the content keeping our target audience in mind, they are going to like it. It is going to resonate with them. They are going to like, share it. So anyway, search engine will recognize this signal. And also, if you are following with the search engine like Google, the way it evolved from last 2 3 years, the search engine has become more like an answering machine. So you really put their long form questions, like your desires, your pain points. So search intent itself has transformed into a more like answering machine. Search engine is not like based on keywords, and even long tail keywords doesn't work, because you are providing context to the search, and search engine algorithms are recognizing it well. So ultimately, if you follow Google, what they're saying, that we want to mimic the actual users. So if we write the content for our actual target audience, search engine is ultimately going to discover it and get proper signals from it. So that's the whole goal, that we are not focusing purely on the search engine perspective, but focusing on the target audience. So here, is that a good answer to your question, Samuel? Please stop again, or drop me message in the chat box. Yeah, I'm definitely discussing the process and methodology behind it. It was very important for me to bring the context here because of late we are getting a lot of questions like why this is so overwhelming. So this context and methodology was important. But now let's try to go one more step down. So when you start with your market research, we have some helper functions like search intent discovery, market spying wizard. But important is to start with your niche and the current environment and trends that is impacting your niche, the promise that you're making to your target audience, the activities and the different unique and useful insights that your service or product is offering to your target audience. These activities are not actually the features of the job. These are the actual activity job that your target audience need to perform in order to take them from their current state to future state using a transformation mechanism that is your product or service behind it, and then kind of summarizing this activity. So these 4 or 5 blocks are good to start with. If you are stuck with this or you have difficulties, it's also okay that you just directly start with one piece of information that is define your niche. So here what is possible is that we should be able to provide it 2 or 3 straight answers, and we should be able to fill rest of the information with AI. So that's the whole idea here. There is the whole information out here to help why this kind of education help, or maybe deep dive into why it is so important to work with a niche idea of the specific target audience in mind. And when I say niche or a target audience, it's a specific group of people in a specific situation with a specific problem and a specific desire. So that's how we wanted to narrow it down. So niche, and even we want to say sub niche, and we want to go to micro niche. So here, I think it's a good example. Niche is crypto, and within crypto, we are focusing on Ethereum, and within Ethereum, we are focusing on Ethereum 2.0. So this example is perfect to understand like how we are narrowing down, how we are getting more and more specific so that our content, our research, our psychographic and semantic become very, very resonating with our target audience. So this information vector is quite extensive, but it's not necessary that you wanted to fill everything at one place and then start, because you can come back again, optimize it, see what content you're getting. More you specify, more information you put here, more better is the semantic search algorithm is fine-tuned behind the engine, and more better we can create the prompt that we want to get to the GPT-3 or any other summarization process or text paraphrasing or in AI content writer. So this has a specific purpose why this market research is here, right? And this is going to continuously evolve also in the way of sophistication, in the way results are filtered, in the way it become more and more specific. So it's a kind of domain knowledge within the tool that you are encoding and using it for your rest of the content process. So let me take some examples. So let's say my main topic of interest here is blockchain. My main topic of interest is Ethereum based blockchain. Now I would like to fill this information with this AI. So you see Ethereum 2.0, Ethereum 2. I think I got most of these to Ethereum 2.0. But idea here is we get this information which is filled using AI. How blockchain solve the problem of two-man risk in ICO, tech-oriented SaaS founder. Ethereum is the most secure blockchain. So this was just an illustrative example that if you want to generate, you don't need to fill everything from scratch. If you have some initial ideas, it will provide you further ideas, and you can refine it further, and you can generate more topics. You can generate it as much as time as close as you get, and then you can also generate more insights around these topics that you have. So I'll take some more examples here. So in this case, the niche was B2B SaaS founders, sub niche was tech SaaS founders, micro niche was sales and marketing SaaS founders. So it's basically it's trying to narrow down, and you provided an ideal prospect overview. So suppose my main topic of interest is AI powered automation, automated content creation, and second other topic is automated content creation. Based on my information on niche and based on my information on demographics, it is going to provide me some more ideas. So create content for your blog, AI powered content creation, AI powered automated content creation, AI SEO software, how to get all of your sales letter and scripts, webinar and email autoresponders written automatically. So this is my headline. This works well even if you hate writing and never want to know anything about copywriting formulas and tricks. So it's all generated automated. Given my information based on niche demographics, and we can further generate more insights and ideas about what are different topics that are very close to my target audience. I got question from Daniel, where you save the results. You have the save functionality here. So all these results, you can save it here. When you come back, you can again review your results if you wanted to change them. But the idea is you wanted to fix your research and then want to see how your content process or how your sales letter or in different aspects, how it impact you, right? It's not that you are going to change your research too frequently, but you plan it, you narrow it down, you deep dive into the problem pain points. It take you some initial days, or maybe 3-4 days to set it up. And as I said, it's not necessary to do the whole research at one point of time. You can come back again. You can see what is the quality of the content. What we are trying to do is like we are also trying to provide you an estimate or a progress bar and or a qualitative metric that if you do your market research and if you generate content, how much this content is similar in semantic way or in psychographic way to your original market research. Is 10%, 30%, 40%? If this is 40%, what are the contributing factors to this percent, right? That's very important for you to know. If you have done more market research, then the semantic similarity or the psychographic similarity with your original market research can be 80%. And if it is 80%, what are those contributing factors to that 80%? Whatever you write a blog, you write a sales letter, you write an email, you write a webinar page, whatever you create content with this process, they're going to provide you metrics. And based on that matrix, you can assess how much your content is aligned with your market research, how much it differ from your competitors, how much it is aligned with the topics that you have on your website. So that's the idea. I think I'm not going to detail of this. It's good to play around and see yourself. But whole this market research, which initially was more your own inputs, but now it is automated to the extent that you can get this information filled with AI. And when I say filled with AI, so that is smart prompts behind it, which take information on your niche, demographics, and subsequent prompt is generated or subsequent inputs or questions or answer like this are generated using previous information in mind. So it's kind of dependent process. More you feed into the system, more better results you get. And then these results are stored and saved in the backend. It is also used for fine-tuning the model to project it back to the content creation process. I have a question from Moises. Let's say I saw a small business and I want to talk to several group of small businesses. Can I come back to the market research and generate another resonance? So if you are talking to several groups of small businesses, if their pain points are similar, right, then you don't need to create multiple buyer personas. But if this group of small businesses have different pain points or your service or your solution can impact them differently, or you can make an emotional or the psychographic connection differently, then of course you can come back and create another project. So you can come back to the market research and you can generate another resonance. But what I will suggest is to create like 10 different buyer persona, group your small businesses like into 3 or 4 groups with similar characteristics in terms of their problem pain points, right? And then define one buyer persona. And once you are creating content, you are doing A/B test of your content. If it is not resonating, come back, optimize some of these parameters, see what different angle you get, and then again go in this loop. So you can more frequently come back again, check your message whether it's working or not. And it's not like one time done approach. It's like you're continuously optimizing this, coming back here, seeing the results, coming back here, seeing the results, and optimizing this process. I hope that answers your question, right? Okay. I only went into one portion of it. And as I said, when you start your business, when you're developing more case studies, when you are very clear in terms of your offer, solution, what benefits and outcome it has, you gather more testimonials, you do market validation, your core concept is evolving more. You have teams, you want to create FAQs, you want to create more credible success stories. You can always come back and collect this information in a structured way, put this information in a single place here, and then this tool is going to help you with making more and more better content. Now you can ask me question like, hey, we have this lot of information, how we are going to fill this? As you said, as you have seen, it's this kind of AI assisted. So you fill 1 or 2 items here and it's going to populate rest. But I will take everything what it shows with a pinch of salt. Why? Because to be very honest, the whole AI or the wave of algorithms, this is just in the starting stage. So whatever you see now is as good as like talking to a 9-year-old kid. I have a 9-year-old kid and I talk to her, and sometimes she really surprised me with her intelligence. And sometimes she might make a statement which make me laugh, right? So this is as good as like getting fresh ideas, different angles, different perspective from someone who has learned a lot of intelligence. And in this specific approach, we are not trying to generate text. This is very important, and I want to iterate it again and again. We are not trying to generate here text at this market research approach. What we are trying to generate is an extra intelligence that can help us to think on more angles, on more perspectives that we might, not think in normal way. It will be difficult to keep all the angles together when you're thinking about your target audience, about their pain points. So this is important that we understand that this part is really helping us to get better perspective on the target audience. And there are several helper functions here, of course, can help you. So when I say search intent discovery, generated some results. I took a broad topic here. So let's say my idea is that I wanted to create an affiliate site on blockchain. I want to maybe go further deep down into Ethereum 2.2. That's my target audience. I want to create some value content for this. But how to start this, like how to fill this information, where to get this information. So here you can see like it's a kind of again research tool. So this gives you a lot of ideas on which, what, why type of question. You can really deep dive into is what blockchain does, Bitcoin does, what blockchain is Tether on, what blockchain is Dogecoin on. Interesting. And this everything is coming directly from the search. So on the fly, we take all the inputs, convert them into smart questions, right? So question from Daniel. When I generate the script, I did not so how to save it. Okay, I'll go back to that. So if you are talking about, let's say, niche, and if you are talking about this information that we generated, right, fill with the AI or yourself, you have written it. Here is a save button that you can save this information. You can also download this information in a PDF. You can review it. You can give it to a team member. You can give it a second thought. You can come back again. So you have PDF here. You can also download it in CSV. Once you are on the high level, like this whole thing, you can download as a PDF, like the one single category niche. We are making another dashboard here with progress and whatnot. And then in that case, you should be able to integrate it with Google Sheet, or you should be able to pull this information and use it with another tool. So this is all on the roadmap. We're coming step by step there, but definitely here is you can save this information, and those extra insights like those in the beta stage. But these insights, once you fill this information, you can generate insights. You can read this helper text like why this is important to understand this or fill this information in this order. And once you have your idea clear, like why this information is necessary, you can generate insights. So insights are more unique and useful angles that you can think of, and you can further refine this information. So it's a kind of circular loop. You think about it, two steps, two inputs. You ask AI to fill this information. You again review, are you in the right direction, what it is asking. You generate insight, you read this again, you get several new ideas, you refine this information. And even you can use these insights to create presentations. You can take it out outside, and there are a lot of opportunities. Or you see, like these are more intelligence. It's like it's not like a text or blog, but this is like pieces of nudges, extra intelligence that will help you to refine your whole approach. What I wanted to come back, why I wanted to come back to here is this whole presentation, like activity one. I can map everything this to the market research, like the case study, this whole structure of this presentation. Who is this for is one of the category here. I can say, who is this for, right? This is your like fundamental sales letter. This is your fundamental one piece content that you can carry forward to your team, to your website, to content creator. If yourself you're a content creator, you have everything like at one place. So the track record, founder's story, your clients and partners. You start with activity one. What is the old way, new way, old result, new result? Everything is mapped back here to the market research. When I talk about how it works and features, benefits and outcomes. So when you say how it works, you can easily see the activity job, old way, problem, pain point, feature name, what outcome you achieve, negative consequence of the old way, pain point. Everything what you see is like mapped here on this. You can create something similar like this when you start your research. You can present this research to your team, to anyone. So I wanted to make a point here that these initial steps are great research point, and you have a lot of ideas here to further get this information. Also, when we see this market spying result, so this is your first step. Suppose if you don't know about your niche or you have no idea what is blockchain, you start with the very ground zero research. So this ground zero research with this keyword will tell you that what are the different trending topics. These are the all trending topic related to blockchain that are coming in the search. Blockchain wallet, blockchain explorer, blockchain companies, blockchain definition, blockchain stock price, blockchain art. Everything you can refine your search here. You click here and this whole search is refined. Then we have one main seed topic, and around it blockchain ideas, blockchain suspicion, blockchain dream, blockchain questions, blockchain newsletter, enemy, mistakes, websites, desired. You can click one of these, and then of course you will be redirected to your local Google page, search page. But here you can again get more idea about this. So it's kind of research intelligence, narrow it down what exactly you want. You can generate some more extra insights in terms of question answer. So for example here, what idea would my target audience have about blockchain? So it will provide you some smart questions and answer. What would my target audience have suspicion about blockchain? What mistake would my target audience incur about blockchain? These questions are starting food of thought. These questions are really good starters for you to deep dive into your research. I got a comment from Michael. Now that I understand this better, wow, this is great. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, good for everyone, I think, right? discover semantics and psychographics. I don't know if it was a comment, compliment, but I will hear more from Michael. Podcast directories. You can go. I don't know if you know this. Listen Notes is a podcast search engine. So if you want to go deep dive into a topic, you can listen to a different podcast. Social media search you can perform on Twitter, Pinterest, video search, news stories, Bing, Yahoo, Medium, questions database. So these are the extra tools and resources. We wanted to spin more such resources that can help you to feed the information here. But this is the fundamental part of the tool where we are not starting with SEO, keyword research, but we are starting with the actual pain points, dream, desires of your target audience. And this is really important after this phase that we are in. From last 2 years, everyone is working from home. Content is like coming on the internet, like millions of blogs maybe per day. Everyone is on internet. The content, whole content process has changed. So it's not knowledge content on top of the funnel, but it's really the content that will connect with your target audience. And all these things that you were doing earlier, maybe these were meetings earlier or events, or there were different channels where you were channelizing this kind of thoughts or the connection with your target audience. But now everything has to be online. So your audience is first, and how you're going to talk to them, communicate to them, resonate with them, this is fundamental aspect. And that's why I put a lot of time here. The next step that I wanted to take in this is the competitor differentiation. So let's say I have done great research on my target audience. I know their pain points, right? I know what they are going through, but it still is not enough, because we have to create content, or we have to create our product or value proposition or offer which is perceived valuable by our target audience. And anything which is valuable, right, is a perception, it's a relative concept. So anything that you present as a value to your target audience, they always see it from your what they are getting. So I'm going to a restaurant, I'm ordering same dish every time, right? But one day chef come and present me a different dish which has a different taste. I immediately understand it's a different, it has a value. So I compared with something similar, and I perceived its value. So therefore, it is very important that we understand our competitors, who are our competitors. And there are different tools here again. You can do one-to-one comparison. So URL to URL, blog to blog, product page to product page. You can find your direct competitors. You can feed this information here, or you can find your organic search. So competitor on the organic platform. So when I say competitor, I put here again a blockchain. I selected the country as US. You can also perform this search based on each country. If you put the language query in the local language, in French or in Dutch or in German, is going and select your country. Suppose if I put a Dutch query and I'm in Netherlands, I select Netherlands, I'm going to fetch all the results from Netherlands. This is important that we understand who are our competitors and what kind of keywords, topics, concepts, ideas they are targeting. So what you see is from competitors, you see keyword cloud. From search, you will see again trending topics. You will see your competitions, who are competitions on this. So of course, this is a very big topic. We can take more specific examples, but on this blockchain.com, IBM, HBR, Bulletin, Euromoney, there are these competitors. We can see in how semantic terms, how they are connected with each other. So idea here is, most of the time when we want to do competitor analysis, we type a keyword and we go to Google, and then Google's first page is showing us 10 different competitors. But we, most of the time, we are not able to understand, like, which is this blog, which should I prioritize in reading it? Because Google's ranking sometimes can be misleading, right? So you want to really understand, if I take all this information at one place, and if I want to know which competitor I should prioritize more. So then this graph really helps you, because on this axis, it gives me overall coverage of this topic. and which competitor is covering what. So for example, there is position 1, but it only covers 42% of the topic itself. Position 2 covers 95% of this topic. It's Wikipedia, so I think you can understand what I'm saying here. Investopedia. So it's a good example of this graph or test of this graph. Said that on the same topic, you don't want to see information on this blockchain.com, but you want to go to Wikipedia, you want to go to Investopedia, then other competitor that you see are not ranking really well. So the whole idea is, if I'm trying to understand my organic competitors, I am presented with 10 different choices. It is very hard to prioritize which one is the best one. And this kind of analysis based on algorithm can give you a good idea. You get here content summary of these different content. It can be any topic here. We can start with long tail topic. We can start with the questions. And we will get the different competitors and this kind of analysis. In the URL to URL, you get readability, sentiment, keyword cloud. And why we are doing this, what we want to understand is like our competitors' content strategy, what kind of topic they are targeting on this particular aspect. And the main idea here is we save in the background the research or an initial analysis you perform. And this also draws into the semantic search in the background. So we have the market research, we have your competitor analysis, and the algorithm will try to penalize those topics, keywords which your competitors are targeting, and try to semantically create a different keyword cloud which you can align with your market research and then feed into the content process. So that's the whole idea about it. Michael, again, okay, I understand now. My compliments, outstanding product. This will help keep things organized. Mapping things back to market research is brilliant. I think this is our best approach and our hard work behind it to really make sure there's all this market research, competitor, and the next I'm coming with the topic modeling. These three pillars are important and that this feedback into the content automation process. So let me now jump to the next one. So let's say that we understand the pain point of our target audience. Let's say that we know who are our competitors. We know how semantically or in a way about topics and keyword we can be slightly different from our competitors. The problem again, if you're doing a shit job on your website, you're targeting different topics, they are not interconnected, they are not cohesive enough. This is still approach going to carry us some leaky bucket. And that's what we don't wanted in the beginning, right? We don't want to go from right to left because this search engine optimization process brings us a lot of traffic, but we are carrying a leaky bucket. We don't want to avoid that. And that's really important that we look into the topics that we are already targeting on our website. If you don't have website, then again, you would like to have a reference website where you want to compare yourself. So of course it is tied with your project, but you can create another project, see the reference website. And of course, when you're starting fresh, might not be necessary that you have to go through this step. But let's assume that you have a website and you know you have done your market research, you have done your competitor analysis, but still if your website is like not cohesive, not having connected topics together, is going to create a lot of leak of the traffic. And that's really important that we analyze this. So when I say topic or topic cluster, so it's going to provide you some word topics like how your whole website, it crawls the whole website and it keeps the data of the whole website into a structured format. So what are the main topics and ideas that is there on this website? You can identify what are my top 10 URLs which are covering the whole topics on my website. So on this website, like there are 12 topics and each topic has a distribution of keywords. So SEO, content, semantic, tools, search, AI. Sometimes, of course, it picks up some nonsensical topics. But this idea behind is that algorithm give you enough scores that how many of your top URLs, they have good coverage of the topics that you are targeting on your website. how many URL have a weak coverage of the topic. So you can really identify thin content on your website, and you can identify those pages URL to have more content, or to rewrite them in a way which cover more topics. So this is like really a tool to identify content gaps. It's more like a visualization of your website in terms of topics and clusters. You can clearly see here different clusters on your website. So the circles are topic, and the within each circle there are terms. So in this topic one, there are terms like this is nonsensical, as I said in the beginning. It change depending on the relevance. So we kept the relevance at 100%, but the ideal percentage is to look at 0.6% or in the 50%. I can go into detail of this graph, explain to you, but you can see SEO, semantic, user, these are all coming under topic one. Then you have topic two, topic three. This is whole visualization is about understanding the different clusters of the topic on your website. So imagine that this topic one is the single largest, biggest, circle, and there are small dots around it. So that visual appearance give me idea that I'm only writing about one topic, SEO or something, which is like single topic. It's like whole website is dominated by single topic. But imagine if these circles are overlapping to each other. So one is completely overlapped to 10, 10 is overlapped to 11, and this all concentrated overlapped. So that give me idea that my whole website talk about a lot of duplicate topics or duplicate content. What ideally you want to have is like very scattered visualization of this diagram, where you can easily see, okay, all my different topics, they are interrelated, semantically connected, and I have well structured, organized information on my website which talk about authority of that particular main topic or two or three key topic. So if I'm targeting about AI and SEO tools on this website, then I would like to cover everything related to this search, content, digital marketing in a way which is interconnected with each other. So this really helps me to understand like how I'm performing on my website, what kind of signals I'm giving to user. And this whole approach, like start with market research, you can skip, of course, the competitor differentiation, topic modeling, you can jump to content automation. But I wanted to take this whole approach and try to communicate to you that this thing together is going to create long-term ROI for the content that or the effort that we are putting here. And it's not a piecemeal approach, it's like end-to-end, very structured approach. Khalid, thank you for the presentation, but it's a little advanced for my knowledge. How can I get simpler introduction? I own a law firm and plan on implementing it. If you want to start really, Khalid, only on the simple approach, what I would say that you start and on only the first box. You click on the first box. You go to the very first information that is there. Like this, these are 4 or 5 inputs that you have to identify. So who are your target audience? It's like you have a law firm, is like civil lawsuits, or is it like company law? Then within this you will go further down. So is it the insurance related litigations that you are targeting? Even you further go down, is only life insurance related litigations? So that's how you're going to narrow down your approach, and then start creating some content. So it seems a bit counterintuitive, but if you see what I'm trying to say, if you really focus and narrow down, you are going to identify ideas and angles in your content which will directly resonate with your target audience. And of course, you can spin multiple buyer persona, multiple pages, but keep the whole track at one place, right? Okay, Khalid, thanks. So you can just start with this first 4 or 5 information, and you're ready to jump maybe into more fun part, so which is more like a content automation. Now, when I talk about content automation, again, there is a kind of every 2 3 week there is a new tool in the market which is talking about content automation, content creation, And I think every tool has its own pros and cons. This tool has a lot of cons. I can admit already. It's very difficult to set up. It consumes you a lot of time. It's hard to start with, right? Some other tools are there. You just put 3 4 things and you get long form content. But now it is up to you how you want to evaluate it. What is quick versus what is structured approach? If you are a firm believer in a structured approach, if you really want to give some time in the beginning to really get to the root or root cause analysis, cause effect relations, right? Then you wanted to take some deeper approach, and it's okay. You can try both approach because ultimately you want to save time is essence, right? So you want to save your time. But here when you put initial time, maybe whatever you gain come out of it, right? Whatever time you put is again ROI, right? Investment. So you put more time here, your returns are higher. If you put less time, then returns are less, right? I don't need to tell this, but I just wanted to make sure that there are different content automation tool out there and they approach the content automation differently. Our main idea here with the content automation is that we have a structured approach of the sales copywriting research. So there are more than 200 scripts that we have collected from internet. These are video scripts. You want to make short videos on YouTube. You wanted to make video for your landing pages. There are funnel scripts. There are headline scripts. There are sales letter scripts. So sales letter scripts are really deep. They are, for example, I can tell you from all the popular copywriters, from David Frey to Don Kennedy to the different Clayton McPeace. These are the great copywriters. And we have these scripts, but you don't need to fill them like one by one. What happens like when you select one of these, you again have the same option there that you provide 2 3 inputs and rest of the inputs are filled by AI. And now the fun part is here that we are mapping all this information back here from your market research, from the competitor analysis you did, from your website's topics that are there in the backend. And more information we collect, we are also fine tuning our own semantic search approach. So we are going to more and more focused on what you did initially, right? So most of the content tools out there in the market, either they are using GPT-3. This tool also has involvement of GPT-3, but everyone using GPT-3 differently. We are using GPT-3 to create extra intelligence, get some questions and answer, collect them, save them, and feed them into the process, and use our own semantic layer under the hood to map and project this information to these scripts. So these scripts are already proven formula, right? So we are not reinventing the wheel here. All these scripts, be it sales letter, be it email, cold call, or webinar scripts. One of these webinar scripts I created. I want to show an example. So I chose one of the webinar scripts and I created using just answering some simple questions, 2 3 questions, and then I can fill it with AI. And then I got this webinar script here, fully created by the tool itself. So it has a welcome intro, it has my webinar goals, who I am, my background, how does it relate to you, results, what we are going to cover in this webinar. It's a 28-page slides of the webinar that is created out of the 3 or 4 inputs that you gave, right? So the structure of this webinar script is already there, right, inside the tool. It is proven formula. It is copywriters, they are using it. So why we should reinvent the wheel? We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to use those scripts, right? And we want to use in a smart way. So we want to feed this with our market research, with other things that we have collected, all this information. Now, sometime, of course, the fine tuning has not yet happened fully. So sometimes the results are a bit difficult, or sometimes you find some pollution in the result. But of course, we are fine tuning it and improving it. But as soon as you do it more often you produce these results. They also map information from between. So if one script has one set of questions and another script has similar set of questions, it sort of connect with each other. So information is mapped from script to script, from MRR, market research, to script. And this idea is like we are trying to inject into the proven copywriting methods. And these copywriting scripts, they cover the sort of psychographic approach, right? It's already, these copywriting scripts are based on some formulas. Question from Samuel: are you planning to add more leaders in this field who do copywriting? Yeah, definitely. I got more such scripts and even sales letter examples that we are trying to integrate. And if you have some sources which you think could be useful for us, please provide us, because we have structured the way we have implemented this script. We have a database, and we have in the back end side maybe structured approach. And what we want to do in future, we also want to enable our users to create their own script formula. So suppose you don't like this Dan Kennedy script, for example, or you want to invent your own script. So what we will be able to do is like we have this whole information, right? We have our niche information, we have their single big pain point, there we have these dreams, desires, fears. You should be able to pull elements and create your own scripts. So that's the kind of, maybe I'm talking of version 3 of CrawlQ, but that's where we are heading to, right? I hope this answers. Video scripts would be good. Example, YouTube video and YouTube videos. Moises asks these questions. Yes, you can try these video scripts. Just make sure that you have at least filled some information in the beginning, and you can always check your information here. So when Khalid asked me what is most important information, you can check again that this is most essential information that we need in the beginning. Your niche, sub niche, micro niche, vertical, your ideal prospect overview, and this still help us to get more better results here. But if you have done your whole market research, right, that also help us to get more mappings and more better and more focused output. So I hope that answered that question. So again, we talk about scripting approach is proven copywriting. So this one way of the content automation. Again, you can think about summarizing some text. So if you have a URL, let's say if you have competitors blogs, you wanted to take summary of this blog and spin them into a social media or LinkedIn let's say LinkedIn or Facebook post. So you can grab one of the URL, generate summary. So I generate summary of this page. I copied this summary, I take this summary, and I spin this summary in the AI content rewriter. So this is basically rewriting this. And what I'm trying to do here, A/B test, so I can create different versions of this same text. I want to switch on domain specific terms because in the backend, the spinning algorithm, the paraphraser you can call, or rewriting algorithm, it also take into account your domain data, and we are not yet there. We have some fixed input to it, but we are fine tuning the machine. So what we want to do is we want to inject this market research data into this backend algorithm and make sure that when it spin the text, it always use your branded terms, topics, and not deviate away from it. So if I created a summary of my own blogs, I have, let's say if I have 20 blogs, I want to create summary, spin them, create a Facebook post, or maybe spin them, create a LinkedIn post. I can always apply this approach. And perhaps it's a good idea for us to create multiple URLs that you can do it one shot, take this summary, save it somewhere in the CSV file. So these are all, I think, plans and ideas that we can do. But here I spinned off this text. I created a new text which is 93.42% semantically similar with the original text. I get some readability aspect of this text, reading ease, word count, sentiments, sentence count. I also get some ideas like how I can put more emotional words. How can I put more power words into this text so that I can make it more usable or more resonating with my target. So if I'm trying to do a LinkedIn post, I want to do something else. If I'm trying to do a Facebook post, I'm trying to do something else, right? It really depends on your approach and the target. Here, I can clear this and again generate different versions of this, like in third, fourth, fifth version, and it will rewrite the same text again. Now I get a new text which is 88.42% semantically similar with the original text. It says CrawlQ powered by Quantumic Solution is a Netherlands-based content automation AI platform. CrawlQ powered by Quantumic Solution is a Netherlands-based content automation. It's not much we have spent in the first paragraph, but as I go and read, it turns some sentences differently, and I'm happy to see that some of these our branded key terms are not turned into different, right? AI platforms, founder, marketers, copywriters. So this is working. The information that we have in our market research, we want to carry it forward, and we don't want any spinning algorithm to change the context or change the main domain terms. Any question here? Shall I continue? Then I want to come to this AI content writer. So let's say that what I want to say here before I go into details is like this AI content writer is a combination, or let's say combo, of AI data. And when I say AI, it's like your market research, which is also taking help from GPT-3, everything that you did before, right? So it's like internal semantic search or GPT-3, everything that is done is like AI related insights we have at one place. And we are also having everything that is coming from Google search. So in this approach of this AI content writer, we are mixing two approaches together. So AI collected insights and the information that comes from Google. And there we want to combine these two approach and create more quality content, which is different slightly from the sales copywriting content, because sales copywriting scripts are based on specific formula and approach. And what we want to create here is intelligence from our market research, come the Google data and research, and create a blog which is full of insights, but also information, stats, or other numbers, or other research which is coming directly from Google. So that's the whole idea. So it's amalgamation of or combo of Google data and the AI data together and produce more meaningful blogs. So that's the whole idea here. So let's say that our initial content idea is we want to create AI generated blogs using GPT-3. Let's say that this is our initial idea. We want to write the content based on this. We select the country. We select some headline scripts. Now here, these headline are just a starting reference to get more better results. So still, we have one headline, but then this headline is sort of fed into the AI and returned into a more powerful headline. And then we have several headlines, and each of the headline create an intro text for us that you will see later in this part. So for example, here I pre-filled with this example, what is single big huge result that my target audience desire. They want to fast track their content authority. That's why they want to generate AI generated content or blog. One more big results or huge desire, they want to optimize content for sale. What is other thing or they are afraid of in this area? They are afraid of mastering copywriting skills. What's one more thing they are most afraid in this area is perhaps running out of cash. I just keep it for demo purpose. And what is the time frame that we want to get these results? Less than 30 days. So based on our initial content idea and based on what information we provided, we got some starting headlines, which is based on, again, a specific idea, how to fast track your content authority without mastering copywriting skills. Makes sense. How to instantly optimize content for sales so they can avoid running out of cash. Funny. So let's say that we have some starting ideas and we want to generate more intro and content around it. It says some lag because now we have, let's say, 20 set of different headline ideas. We fetch back, we get the information from generators or GPT-3 in this case, Then we fetch information from our market research, trying to make some analysis in the background that which information should be prioritized. So that's why tool lacks currently in many of the areas. It shows you like it's working, but it's working in the background. And we of course need to put more resources for the computation. So this wait time is not that much. So obviously you can explore other part of the tool until we are here, right? But it's not going to take long. What after content writer, what maybe perhaps his idea that I keep it very brief, but it's kind of search engine optimization. In the search engine optimization, here again, our idea is not to replace the established any kind of established structure or the idea of how you should be doing SEO. So there are tools from established tools to Ahrefs to SEMrush. They have their own databases. They are structured, and by no means this is comparable to them. But the information here is more semantic. So how the readability, how the content length, how the sentiments on your website, they are interconnected, and how you can use this. And also it provides some technical SEO information, schema insights, performance on your browsers or mobile devices. This is quite a useful information. It's kind of supplementary and by no means a replacement of the established SEO strategy. But still, there are a lot of resources here which help you to validate your assumptions or check what results you are getting from other tools. Okay, what text was generated. So AI generated blogs using GPT-3. Headline: How to test your marketing funnel to predict the ROI of your marketing campaign. We didn't provided this headline, right, in the beginning. It's all this initial 20 headline, and then out of this prioritization, we get the best what we want to get from initial market research. And what we did here is like one our main topic, right? So in the background, it's trying to create some semantic core and trying to prioritize. So this is our headline: How to test your marketing funnel to predict ROI of your marketing campaign. Makes sense. AI generated blogs using GPT-3. How many words can I easily generate? How can I tell if the text is coherent to the human reading? What artificial intelligence use in this blog? What are the main benefits of AI generated blogs? So it is giving you ideas what discussion points you should have in your blog when you're writing this AI generated blog using GPT-3. And you can see here it came out with some brilliant ideas, like 5 different discussion points that now you can arrange and you can start. What is coming here, I will explain. But again, there's a next one: how to gather signals from your sales and marketing funnel to create content that converts, how to easily fast track your content authority. Yeah, of course, it gets some mix up here. But again, here it came with some ideas, and it also tell us what's my target niche. So B2B SaaS founder, B2B tech SaaS founder. This was my original research. That was my target audience. My ideal prospect was Fred, married, 37-year-old tech founder who currently make blah blah blah. So this is coming back again to tell me that this is my target audience. This is my second possibility to take some discussion point in my blog. How to optimize content for traffic in less than 30 days without creating your own content. Very interesting. Then we get again here quite AI generated discussion points that we can keep in our blog. So this part here is all AI generated, and these are all the headlines that went into this process to generate this thing. I'm not going to read this, but this is very interesting because it is talking back our market research also. Okay, here we get all the data which is coming from Google search related to this topic. So top headlines: a college student used GPT-3 to write fake blog posts and ended up at the top of Hackers News. Wow, interesting. So this is all content that you get in the paragraphs from the top ranking sites, right? Here you can start developing your blog. So you will take this, for example, and you will write starting or making research It is also possible that you can respin this text. So when I respin, I got another text. I can copy it and I can paste it here. So this is my another text. Now you can ask me that this approach looks like some tools out there like phrase or some other tools which give me long form, short form. This whole discussion in long form, short form is bit quite difficult to understand because some people are getting too used to get these long form blogs and they want to check. But here, still we are applying our own research, right? We wanted to research, we wanted to take all the talking points, then expand this blog. So this is how currently we visualize that you will create a blog. But of course, we can refine this idea further. We can combine what we are doing in the background and more with more research. That whatever information you get on the from the Google, we are going to again map it and spin it exactly to your original market research, and then you will see more and more relevant paragraphs appearing here. And what else you have here is like all the headlines related to that topic which are in the Google, all the paragraphs that you see here, all the topics that you should be covering in this. So when I say topic that are really topics, so GPT-3, GPT, AI, generate, model, open API, open AI, text, blog, post, technology, human, written, large. These are not keywords. These are like some topics that you would like to cover. That's what your competitors are also covering when they are writing a blog on like this AI generated blogs using GPT-3. So this gives you enough approach or a combination of approach where you have your own target audience, market, whom you want to address. You get data from the Google and you wanted to combine this intelligently in a combo approach where you create your blog, but this blog is sort of connected with your original research. You're just not repurposing the Google data or rewriting it, because every time you press rewrite button, it also switch some of the terms and try to align with your domain knowledge or your market research. It depends on the topic. We also get some questions from Quora or Google's questions. If it is product related, then we get reviews. Again, you see here your whole market research back. So this is interesting because if you have done your whole market research, you can again plug in those points here back in your blog that you're writing. You have your whole market research which is coming here, and you have it one place, and we are developing some scores also. Here you can regenerate your topic clusters. So what it will do, it will take your left hand side content, take you we have already your website data, and it will recreate that topic clusters, and it will give you a score. That score will tell you that if you're writing this content, is it going to increase your total semantic coverage of the topics, or it's going to reduce, or we are making like a different choice here. So that's important again, and you can see that here we are trying to combine insights from market research, from topics, and from our competitors. And we are trying to create in the overview some kind of KPIs or scores. So currently it says your average topic score is 25. So that means whatever we have written here, it covers 25 topics already. And we wanted to make sure that we cover it until 100%. So that approach will optimize it for all the topics that our competitors are targeting. So this way, we have incorporated competitor insights. We have our market research here. So we can take some fresh angles here, or the angles that we have researched already, incorporate in our blog, and that will also give us a score. At this much, your current blog is related 30% related to your market research, 40% related to your market research. And maybe we wanted to fine tune this approach more. So it will show you the top documents or sentences that are related with the current block, right? This kind of semantic search approach in our backend is evolving. We are doing more research, involving more people, so that we can make end-to-end semantic approach, including your market research, your topics, your competitor insights. And this is good example to see like how things are coming along all together in one place. Any question at this moment I can take?
Okay, so I get the part of the market research and going from left to right. But now in this section in the content automation, what I see is it generates a few. If we can go back to the article that you just generated, please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I see there is a headline,
Yeah.
an intro,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have on the right hand side information from Google,
Right.
the data from Google. Okay,
Yes.
so I guess the AI is pulling up those parts or those bits of information that are relevant to the topic that we're discussing.
This is the idea. This is what it is doing. It is trying to pick up the information which is relevant with this idea. And there are some loose ends still. So the paragraphs that you see are sorted based on a algorithm, based on our initial idea. But we are refining this. So what we want to do is like we want to create more fine tuning of the approach. So you exactly get from all the Google sources the content which is directly semantically relevant with the topic that we are writing.
So the previous step, it was actually awesome because it will create, to me, it's amazing the kind of brief that it created, very detailed brief.
Right.
But it seems to me that from that step to the next logical step, which will be, if not totally a hands-off approach, at least put all that information that you have on the previous brief, put it on this step, which is the most important step. I mean, if we've been doing from left to right, all these previous steps is to get to this step, especially if you're developing a content strategy, right? Which is at the end of the day, I think that this tool would be perfect for that because you do all the research once and then you can create a content strategy for your blog. Use it as a sales funnel. But I see a little disconnect between the previous step and this step because I get the part that you have to pull the data from Google to, if we're talking about infographics, studies, research, I totally get that you're going to need these pieces of information. But on the previous brief, there were several steps. Step 1, headline. Step 2, intro. Step 3, I don't know, the first H3. And all the questions, and then the your value proposition, and how are you different, and what is your offer. I mean, whatever that is. I didn't have time to go through all of that, but how can you implement all that information that you have in the previous step on this step?
So what you see here is only one structure, but what we are adding now is more structures to the blog piece. So in the new edition that we are adding new template, it will not only pull your like main biggest pain point or thing, but also about offer. So what is the case study? What is that you're trying to, your main call to action to your target audience? So we are creating different types of blog template which fit into different decision cycle of the funnel. So some are really bottom of the funnel, and these is kind of an article, but still it talks about your offer, your service, and a lot of information that we have collected in the beginning, right? So we are trying to structure this whole information in little different types of block template, and that you can use and implement. So what you see is like only 3 or 4 types headline things, but we are still adding things, like we are adding templates. Maybe I can show you the template, but good idea that you will see it in 2-3 days later, because we are almost done with that. And that will exactly pick up the points that you are mentioning here now. Because I understand that you put a lot of information related to your offer, your pricing, testimonials, some case studies, but they are not coming back here, right? That's what your disconnect you're talking about.
Yes, because like for instance, the other examples that you showed, the ones that have the templates for webinar, emails, etc.
Yeah,
that is a plug and play pretty much. I mean, that is awesome.
yeah.
I haven't seen anything like it, and I have Copysmith and Rise Sonic and other products. I mean, it blows them out of the water on that department. Yeah, so something similar to that that you can tell, okay, so this piece is for top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, or bottom of the funnel. And based on that information, it can create. I get the part that you always have to fill in somehow, because I've seen it with the other AI products. It just goes and rumbles, you know. So this approach is much more centered, which I love it. And I get that at a certain point, you will have to plug in some bits and pieces, but the structure, you know, okay, so this piece of the blog post is going to be for, you know, top of the funnel. And this one is going to be bottom of the funnel or middle of the funnel. How to, whatever, you know, as you were showing up the desire or fear or whatever. And then that will connect all the pieces from left to right, you know.
No, definitely. So this there's some work in progress. Like we are trying to restructure the whole market research into different types of templates. So, for example, I just wanted to make sure that I understand what you're saying. So this is another template that we are adding. We call it like blog tool, and this is based on audience problem question based blog intro. Or it's not on going to be intro, but it's going to be much more than. And it's this kind of bottom of the funnel where you're talking about companies offer, and I can tell you that what kind of questions. So let's skip this. So these are only user inputs, but then what questions will be generated through AI is what stage is your buyer person in this decision journey to buy, subscribe, or order your solution? What is the problem we are seeking to solve with this article? The question this audience is asking, what we are attempting to answer with this piece. Instead, the old and traditional way of doing the current activity of your target niche if they do not use your product or services. So these are the questions basically. You are concluding with final call to action. You are saying, hey, now back up your market claim, promise, or headline with case study data. And these are some examples, you know, and then you see this column deck is mapped with old way, new results, trends, case study. These are all pillars or categories of the market research that you did initially. We are putting actually kind of prompts or information which can then be used as different types of blog. So bottom of the funnel blog, the middle content, or is cannot be always blog, but it's sounds like a blog, but it's like a case study or things like that. So
That would be
that's
awesome.
what we are adding.
And implement that.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
So for instance, this blog post that you were creating, and the next step that you have right there, the search engine optimization.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, if you get to the 100% of that content automation score that you have there, is that semantically, or how is that going to translate to Google actually finding and ranking our content? So as compared to, let me put you one example so you can understand, like, or Market Muse. If I type on Market Muse, how to rank or how to use GPT-3 for customer service. Let's say that. I get a list of all the competitors, and it gives me a score like that. And if I write more words than the competitor and I use all the terms, then chances are I'm going to rank higher than him. So how is this average topic score relate to the actual rankings? So
I did a research. Market Muse is doing it in a sense that they are collecting more than, let's say, 200 articles, and they may be running a big machine behind it, right? And they are trying to have their own internal approach, which of course I don't know. But the approach that they are following is totally optimizing your blog towards the search engine. And here the way we started is to optimize it for our target audience. So that's the difference. That's a fundamental difference. And we don't want to go in the route where we say, okay, this is 100% topic score. Means it's more like a simple approach that we are covering all this topic, and let's assign a good coverage. So it's, I would say, what we are doing here is more coverage, that we wanted to cover all these topics. and not go too extreme with this. That because I did the whole research with the market news and the patent that filed it in US. They are going into 200 results, and if you see on the Google, if you search for this, right, after 10 or 11th result, or even if you go to second or third page, you will start seeing that it doesn't make sense, or it's a bit deviating from your own idea too much, or it's not really something that you wanted to have. So if you see in terms of topic coverage, if you are aligning with, let's say, top 20, right, that should be good enough. And why we overcomplicate this process? That's what question I myself asked when we were discussing and brainstorming about it. Of course, we can get all these 200 pieces of the content, try to over optimize it, but how can we measure it? Is it a guarantee that when we optimize from market news, we are going to necessarily rank higher? I don't know. I haven't tried that. But I wanted to keep the approach here simplistic, that we cover topics that our first 20 positions are talking about, but in a more we aligned with also the our market research. So ideally, you want to see here some penalization of the topics which are not covered in our original market research. That is ideally we want to achieve and go in that direction, and not cover everything that is. Then we are in the first place, right? We are just over optimizing for Google and not for our target audience.
I totally get that. But what are the chances that that content optimized based on the intent,
Mm-hmm.
which I think that's what you're bringing out. Not only intent but resonance with your reader. Is that going to rank? Because if someone else that was using any other tool are over optimizing for Google,
Yeah.
and I am optimizing for intent, which one is going to win? Do you have any insights about that?
I think it's a very difficult question to answer. But what I can say, the assumption that we make in the beginning is, if we know our target audience better, if they are going to like, share our content, then Google will get that signal and we are going to rank ultimately. And most of the time, when you start a content, you have two objectives in the mind, right? Very clear objectives. Sometimes you don't want to create a content to rank it high on the Google. It's your landing pages, is your bottom of the funnel blog, and even whatever you do, sometimes it won't rank because Google's algorithm is very complicated. What 200 factors or even 1,000 factors? It's very hard to understand that, right? So if you have very clear goal in the beginning, that what is your content, and if you use this fundamental approach to understand your target audience, you also go and take this Google's approach, that what my competitors are doing, and you cover, I'm sure it will serve the purpose, because in the end, even if you higher ranking higher, right, and if your whole website and other things are not in right place, or topics are not in structure, then also you're going to lose that traffic. It's not going to convert. Now you will ask me a question: what is the guarantee that it will convert? Right? It's the A/B test. I think that will help us create more case studies, use the tool more. We have used the tool with 3 or 4 of our client, and we got some outstanding results. One of the blog was ranking on the top of the Google, but same other blog did not rank, but it created like 82 engagements, like comments on the LinkedIn. So the kind of structure or information there was really optimized for the target audience that this particular company was targeting on their LinkedIn platform. So you see the difference is, like, we have in the beginning an idea, like our goal, where we want to go. Is it totally for ranking? Then we have different approach. Is it totally for my YouTube channel or Facebook group, or is this post or blog is totally for my opt-in page? Then I will follow a slightly different approach. So I hope that what we are trying to achieve here is not fully only targeted towards Google approach. We want to optimize for our different purposes, and we want to keep this funnel approach in the mind, like where our customer in the journey. Is it like bottom of the funnel? Then we pick up some different characteristics of the market research, and then we apply on it. If it is middle of the funnel, then we try to pick different characteristics of the market research and we apply it. So it's sort of like laying your content strategy under the hood. That's what I think you mentioned in the beginning, right?
Yeah. So I see the point. I would say that over time, with this approach, what you really are optimizing is not for Google, but for authority. Because if you answer the questions that the person have in mind, if you tap into the fears, into their desires, you're gonna be the last search. And then by being the last search, they're not gonna go back to Google and keep searching. And that to Google is a strong signal that they found the answer. Over time, that builds up authority about what you're talking about.
Right.
And so that only regarding to Google and search, but then also in your website, if your content is efficient and is tapping on people's minds, then you're gonna get more conversions. Again,
Right.
Google is gonna pick up on that because you have Google Analytics.
Right.
So over time, that's gonna build up authority into the niche that you are positioning yourself. So I see that the quick win will be optimizing for SEO, but the ultimate goal, and I think that's what your tool is optimizing for authority to
Right.
become yourself a pillar of knowledge and the go-to guy when it comes to the topic that you're discussing.
Yeah, that was also my first headline, like fast track your content authority. So that's
Mhm.
what the original idea, that we focus more on the authority optimization. And when we talk about authority optimization, then it was like wholesale approach, and also create content which is more like sales and marketing driven, which optimize our conversion rate. So even if we have less traffic, but if we can optimize and convert it right, by making it more resonating, by optimizing it for authority, then we are going to get better ROI on our content strategy or effort. So that's the whole idea, I think.
Well, that being the case, I gotta tell you that your tool is a unicorn in the market in the sense that there's nothing like it. And if you keep adding those little pieces that we were discussing before, then it's going to be a real killer in the market. I mean, understanding that it is for authority and it's not a quick win, but it's a long race, it's a marathon. And so how would you, I don't know if the tool can do this, so that's why I'm asking this. If you want to create a content strategy, okay, so let's say you have finished your blog, you finished those improvements that you want to do to the AI writer. How will you develop a coherent content strategy about one subject?
Yes, so I think coherent content strategies, like again, we are trying to connect with the market research, right? And the first starting point, that we try to segment our questions like pain point, desires, all those questions into three blocks, right? The first block is like cold traffic, which is like our target audience. They don't know what is their problem, and they don't know also what is their solution. So these are cold. So this is more like a top of the funnel knowledge content. Then we have warm traffic. So our target audience in this case know what problem they are facing, but they don't know what is the solution. Then finally, there are hot audience that they know actually who are we. They know their problem. They know who is offering this solution. So we start with this high level strategy, that we try to segment all our market research, what we are doing here, in terms of these buckets. So cold, warm, and then we map different ideas or pain points or problem solution statement. So that for me, like mapping it to a customer journey, and then your content strategy is like underneath it. That makes sense to what I'm trying to say. Maybe it's getting a bit overcomplicated. What I'm trying to say is whole market research, we can segment into cold, warm, hot. The definition of cold is like I said again, right? The problem solution is statement is not clear to our target audience. As they become more aware in the customer journey, we are applying a different semantic and psychographic map to the content creation. And that will become clear when we start implementing these templates, these kind of things, right? You also notice that in the copywriting, this is inbuilt, this sort of cold, hot, warm, that copywriting script themselves take care of that. But when we implement this approach where we will try to segment the question, answer, problem, dream, desire in this, like the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel, then we are perfectly overlaying this content strategy according to the customer journey. And then what I'm trying to say in the end, the outcome of this will be a specific set of content. So if you are a SaaS company, then you wanted to create bottom of the funnel ROI calculator. You wanted to create ebook. You wanted to create a case study. You wanted to create, let's say, FAQ page. You wanted to create something which is comparing your competitor against other competitors, something different, right? So each of these outcome or things will be mapped to a content deliverable. So you have your segmentation of the market research in terms of the customer journey, and they're all mapped to a specific deliverable of the content. And that's the idea that we wanted to implement. Sounds a bit complicated, right?
I totally get it's complicated, but that would be a killer feature too, because I think that is the little gap, between all the other parts of the tool seems very solid.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that is the hardest part. That is
Yeah.
what no one has done. So props to you, that you're even trying to tackle that problem. I think that's a problem that everyone struggles with. I mean, me, myself, developing cohesive content strategy, that is the hardest thing. And
Right.
I have some rush to, but like, for instance, to me, I can't find the answers to the problems that I'm looking to tap into, because I think no one is writing about that. So how do you create a content strategy based on that? There's no market research on that. So if you can put something, that can take you A to C, that would be awesome. I mean, that would be something that I think no one has done yet.
Right, right. So that's our like path we wanted to go. What we need to improve behind this process is our semantic search approach. And because I'm quite close to this development, so I use a lot of technical terms, and it's very hard for me to come out of this. So of course I need to get some help from marketing people to make it easy to understand, right? But when I say semantic search, what I mean is like we want to fine tune our engine a bit better so that we can create this segmentation easier. We can project those information more easily to the different content goals, content strategy. There are still some loose ends, and why these loose ends are there, because you need to first understand how your users are inputting the data. Then you need to create a structure of this data. And then you need to define a specific indexing process, and then goes the whole like fine tuning of your algorithm, everything. So that's why we are lagging in this. It was never possible that we could have come already with that idea, because we first need to understand like how users are filling the information, how we can make it coherent. So this is for us like a learning. We kind of implement this kind of build, learn, measure loop, right? So, and then we evolve the tool. So it will evolve definitely. But there are certain challenges that we need to first overcome before we can confidently travel on that path. That's what I mean to say. So I think we are almost running, but I want to just cover this last bit, and I don't want to cover whole SEO thing, but in differentiating factor, it's like when you go to SEMrush, of course, it gives a lot of information what we have here, but we're focusing on the readability, reading ease, reading time, content length. To give you like example, if your website has a lot of less than 250 words content, then Google is not too often crawling your pages. So that means whatever effort you're doing, even on a daily basis, you're changing a landing page which is less than 250 words, it's not getting the attention of the Google. But I'm not saying that we should start creating long landing pages. It's just an idea that these are the pages which are thin content, and you want to focus on the money pages where a lot of content is there. You want to frequently update them. These kind of statics or data or information helps you to better structure your website. Also, very quickly, like different content types that we have on a website, sentiments, what kind of sentiments our website has. Scroll depth is important. Like you wanted to understand which are the pages which are left orphaned, right? They are not internally connected with different pages. You wanted to find a pattern here. So if suppose if you are creating some pillar content, first pillar content, second pillar, third pillar, Google bot is also will try to identify some pattern in your website. And what Google is saying that they are trying to mimic as good as the user. So user is also usability of your website becomes more better if you have connected interrelated concepts together. Now it is very hard for e-commerce website. It might work differently for a SaaS website. So there is no universal approach that we can apply and come up. It will depend on case to case, but at least we get some data and actionable advice. If my page has fourth grade readability, then which are these pages? What should I do to improve them, right? So this approach, I think, is quite still helping, or you can say assistant, or maybe further helpful to what you have established tools like SEMrush can deliver. Again, I would not go into this SEO, metadata, meta description, image tag. This is all will come out here if I run this. But I would say that most of these things are like done by Google automatically nowadays. So if you are spending a lot of time in meta description, H1 tag, duplicate title, Google take care of this. It's best to follow these practices, but this SEO as such should not be investing a lot of time here, but creating value content. That should be the SEO. So the goal of the SEO is aligning with your content strategy, create content which is valuable to your target audience, and then get more conversions out of it. That was my whole idea, to not to start from this side, but to start from market research and come to SEO end, and then use some steps to validate from already established tools that give a lot of such information. Take more questions. And I want to be really honest and want to admit with you guys that I use a lot of technical or developer language because I'm close to the development. But I think over the period of time, maybe it will improve how we bring it, how we explain it. And going forward, you will see more improvement. You see some kind of nav errors or inconsistencies throughout, but we are putting like people who are skilled at it to make sure that these are not the cases and this tool evolve itself. So it's not like I'm single person working on this. We have a team, and the team is full development team with agile, but also a marketing team which is taking care of different aspects. So I want to assure you guys that this is not a single man job. There's a team behind it, and there's a vision, there's a roadmap. You can go to website, check our roadmap, and anything that you find useful is also we have a Facebook group. I'm sure you might be a part of it, but if not, please join that group. And any kind of feedback that you have, we are very open for those feedbacks. There is a public roadmap. We also invite comment feedback on it. So this public roadmap has a lot of things that I already talked in this whole session, like what we want to improve. But if any idea pops up, comes up, please provide feedback, and I'll bring this into the development backlog. So that was it from my side. Any final thoughts?
Just wanted to give you props for the tool, Harish. I will definitely send you some feedback as I started to use the tool, but definitely I can see the potential. As I said, I use other tools, but they're lacking on the basics, and here you cover the basics, and you put some. It's a lighthouse, in my opinion, because for people who doesn't have or who doesn't know where to start, you can start from A to Z. So yeah, thank you for it. I'll definitely get back to you as I start to fill out the information for my own project. And good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So don't mind initial glitches or things, but as long as you can help us with the feedback, we'll cover all those things and make sure that we deliver the quality product in the end and improve it continuously. That's the kind of assurance I want to give you guys. Then
I just wanted to say my thanks to a great webinar, and I'm very impressed with your tool. It's outstanding. And I can see how this is going to so help organize the work that's done in an agency, which I'm beginning to, like I'm starting up. And this is a dream. Thank you for your foresight. Good for you. Compliments to your team.
Thank you. I will definitely convey to my team because every little encouragement is really important. They are really working hard, whole team. So thank you, Michael, for this. And thank you so much for joining this. And I hope to see you again on different webinars. Want to get in touch with you or get feedback and want to stay in touch with you to continuously improve it and bring this feedback back to the team, back to similar other people who are struggling with content creation. And hopefully we can create something which is different and unique. So that's the goal and vision. Thank you.